Y'all, listen. Cardi B just got handed her whole face on a silver platter, and the woman doing the slicing? Latto. Big Mama. The same girl Cardi swore on her baby she FK'd with heavy 4 months ago, is now standing on a 16-bar grave she just dug, with the shovel still in her hand, smiling. And if you blinked, you missed it, because Latto didn't make a press run. She didn't post a thirst trap. She didn't call up academics. She slid one song onto a retirement album, called it Gimme Dat, and let the lyrics rip Cardi's apology in half on national streaming. Pause. Her retirement album. Which means this is the move she wanted the world to remember her by. Not a love song. Not a victory lap. A receipt. A receipt with an Hermès store stamped on it. And before anybody runs in the comments yelling where's the proof, where's the name drop, sit down. Because the line is not subtle. The line is a sniper round. She raps, and I quote, "Talking 'bout buying Big Mama a bag like my N, I ain't already bought it. Like my N, I ain't coming off racks. Big bank over here, big facts. Wish A.B. H would get in that booth. I'm calling up PlaqueBoyMax. That is not a coincidence. That is a forensic, line-by-line dismantling of every single thing Cardi tried to do to clean up the mess back in September 2025. The bag? Addressed. The apology? Rejected. The booth challenge? Issued. And the PlaqueBoyMax mention? That's the kill shot, and we're going to get into why in a minute, because that one detail is the part nobody in the gossip blogs is breaking down correctly. Nobody. I'm about to show you the receipt under the receipt. But first, rewind. Because to understand why this Gimme Dat verse hit like a freight train going downhill with no brakes, you have to remember exactly what Cardi B was caught saying. Last fall, September 2025, an audio file slithered onto the internet. A phone call. Cardi on one end, Ice Spice's manager James Roseman Jr. on the other. And in that call, the voice everybody recognized as Barty went absolutely nuclear. Not on Ice Spice. On Latto. A woman who, by the way, had literally just been featured on the ErrTime remix with her. Days before that audio leaked. They were on a song together. Public smiles, studio photos, the whole industry friend cosplay. And behind the scenes, the voice on that recording said, and I'm reading this directly, "I ain't P.Y.A. Latto. I'm not Latto. I'ma beat her the FCK up. I'ma knock her the FCK out. All y'all. I'ma beat her up. I'ma get Riot beat up by my ANS. Y'all gonna see what the FCK is up. Y'all think I'm Fkin pussy a Latto? Out of nowhere. Unprovoked. About a woman who hadn't said her name once. Who was, again, on her song that week. Now, here's where the story gets cinematic. Because Cardi, and credit where it's microscopically due, didn't try to deny it. She didn't say it was AI. She didn't blame her assistant. She didn't disappear from the timeline for 3 weeks. She got on X, and she typed, "I was ranting and hot at the moment, but I FK with Latto heavy. I respect everything about her, including her team, that's so sweet. And nope, I'm not too prideful to apologize to somebody I really respect, so this my public apology, and now I am privately buy her a bag. Public apology. Private bag. End of story, right? That's what Cardi thought. That's what the entire industry thought. The blogs moved on. Threads died. New scandals came in like waves. Everybody forgot. Everybody except Latto. Because Latto didn't say a single solitary word back in September. Not one. No statement. No subliminal Instagram story. No suspicious praying hands emoji on the timeline. She went radio silent. And in 2026, in the rap game, when a woman of Latto's stature goes radio silent after getting publicly disrespected, that is not peace. That is gunpowder being measured out in a basement, grain by grain. That is a woman with a notes app full of bars, biding her time, waiting for the exact right release date, the exact right beat, the exact right verse, to make the response land like a piano dropping out of a 14-story window. And on May 29th, 2026, that piano came down. Through the roof. On Cardi's whole head. Let's go bar by bar, because I need y'all to feel this the way the studio felt it. B.H. said what? Let's clock it. Right out the gate. She's putting the apology on the witness stand. She's not pretending she didn't hear it. She's not pretending she's above it. She is publicly clocking into the conversation. Punching the time clock at the disrespect factory. The let's clock it is so casual, so sing-songy, it makes the violence that follows 10 times worse. It's the rap equivalent of a woman fixing her earring before she swings. Really got an Hermès store in my closet. Now pay attention, because this is the line that turned the Cardi bag offer into ash. Cardi didn't just say she'd buy Latto a bag. She said she'd privately buy her a bag, which, in industry language, is a way of saying, I'll handle this off camera, with a single designer item, and we'll never speak of it again. Latto's response. I have a store. Not a bag. A store. In my closet. And the word really at the front is the dagger, Because really is the word you use when someone has just insulted your intelligence. Really? You think one Birkin is going to do it? Really? I have a store. In my closet. Of the same brand. Talking 'bout buying Big Mama a bag like my Ann. I ain't already bought it. There it is. The direct address. Big Mama. That's the album. Big Mama. That's her. Big Mama. That's the receipt that everybody who heard the apology is now hearing in stereo. And the kicker, like my Ann, I ain't already bought it, is shorthand for, my man covers me. My man handles the boutique. My man doesn't need another woman's pity shopping to keep me in leather. This is not a money flex. This is a dignity flex. This is you don't get to play sugar mama to me. I have one of those at home, and his card hits different than your guilt. Like my Ann, I ain't coming off racks. Big bank over here, big facts. She's doubling down, triple stacking, because she knows, in the era of audio leaks and screenshots, you cannot afford to leave any room for misinterpretation. She is sealing the door. She is hammering the nails in. And then, she opens the next door, the one nobody saw coming. Wish H would get in that booth. I'm calling up PlaqueBoyMax. Stop the song right there. Pull the needle off the record. Because this is the line that everybody is misreading, and I'm telling you why right now, on this video, before the rest of the internet catches on. PlaqueBoyMax. PlaqueBoyMax. If you don't follow streaming culture, you might think he's just some random Twitch personality. He's not. PlaqueBoyMax has become the live, unedited, real-time rap arena of 2025 and 2026. Artists go on his stream. They freestyle. They write in front of the camera. There is no auto-tune patch-up booth. No engineer hiding behind the glass. No we'll fix it in post. It is raw. It is live. It is broadcast to hundreds of thousands of people who screenshot every single mistake. And here is the part that makes the bar nuclear. Cardi B was already publicly linked to PlaqueBoyMax. She shouted him out at Super Bowl 60 flag football. They are connected. He is, in industry whisper circles, somebody Cardi has actively been trying to align herself with for credibility in the live rap streaming space. So when Latto says, wish H would get in that booth, I'm calling up PlaqueBoyMax. She is not just challenging Cardi to rap. She is challenging Cardi to rap in the one room where Cardi has the most to lose. In Cardi's own allies arena. With Cardi's own friend hosting. She is essentially saying, I will fight you on your home court, on the streamer you've been buttering up, with no engineer, no ghostwriter, no second take. Show up, or shut up forever. That is not a diss. That is a duel issued at sunrise, with the location pinned and the seconds named. And let me linger on PlaqueBoyMax for one more second, because I do not think most of y'all realize how surgical this name drop is. PlaqueBoyMax isn't just any streamer. He is, statistically, the platform where reputations either get cemented or cremated in real time. Artists like Lil Yachty have gone on there. Artists who write their own bars have thrived on there. Artists who don't, who lean on co-writers, who need 14 takes, who whisper rap into a comp track and let the engineer pitch correct the rest. Those artists avoid him like a courthouse. And the rap-savvy audience knows this. The chronically online audience knows this. So when Latto invoked his name, she didn't just call Cardi to a booth. She called Cardi to the one booth where the audience already knows what the absence of an appearance means. Silence on PlaqueBoyMax's stream is its own admission. You don't even have to lose. You just have to not show up. And the not showing up is the loss. Now think about what that does to Cardi's PR team. Somebody in that room had to look up and go, yeah, she can't go on PlaqueBoyMax. And the second those words left that person's mouth, the strategy meeting collapsed. If Plaque is off the table, the booth challenge is conceded. If the booth challenge is conceded, the bar wins by default. No counter tweet recovers this. No Apple Music interview saves this. The only move that answers the bar is the move Cardi cannot make. So they tabled it. They hoped the news cycle would do the work. It hasn't. The clip didn't fade. It's getting louder. And the silence that's followed from Cardi B's camp? Deafening. As of right now, sitting here recording this, Cardi has not responded. Not on X. Not on Instagram Live. Not in a club. Not on a podcast. Not on a leaked audio. Nothing. Which, for the most chronically online rapper of the last decade, is a thunderclap of a non-response. Cardi B does not stay quiet. Cardi B has gone live, full face, full attitude, over a comment with 16 likes. Cardi B has typed out 3,000-word essays at 4 in the morning over a fan account with a default profile picture. So you mean to tell me Latto just put her on a song, in her album, in her retirement album, with the booth challenge and the PlaqueBoyMax tag, and Cardi B is sitting on her hands? You really believe that? Here's what I think is happening. And this is the part nobody is saying out loud yet. So if you want the angle that's going to blow up in the next 48 hours, listen close. Cardi B is in the worst possible position a rapper can be in. She is in the apology trap. She already publicly said she respects Latto. She already publicly offered the bag. She already swallowed her pride, on her own timeline, with her own thumbs, and now if she comes for Latto, she looks like a woman whose word means absolutely nothing. She looks like a hypocrite. She looks like she only apologized because the audio leak put her in a corner, and the second the heat cooled off, she was ready to bite again. The internet would eat her alive. Hip-hop loyalty culture would eat her alive. Even her own fan base would eat her alive. Because Cardi's whole brand is I'm real. I keep it 100. What I say, I mean. And if she pivots from I respect her heavy to this B.H. in under 9 months, the brand cracks. The brand actually cracks. So what does she do? She can't respond on a song, because she'd look like a liar. She can't ignore it, because she looks like a coward. She can't address it on X, because anything she types becomes a screenshot the second it's posted. She is, for the first time in her entire career, in checkmate. And Latto put her there with a single verse on a song most people are just hearing for the first time this week. Now, and this is the layer that nobody on YouTube is hitting yet, I want to talk about something that's been completely missed in the coverage. Everybody's focused on the bag line, the booth line, the PlaqueBoyMax tag. But there's a sequence in those bars. A psychological sequence. Pay attention. Bar 1. She humiliates the offer, Hermès store in my closet. Bar 2. She shames the gesture, I ain't already bought it. Bar 3. She challenges the medium, get in that booth. Bar 4. She names the witness, PlaqueBoyMax. That is not freestyle order. That is calculated demolition. Step 1, you remove the gift. Step 2, you remove the giver's authority. Step 3, you escalate to the arena. Step 4, you name the referee. By the time the bar is done, Cardi has been stripped of her gesture, her power move, her safe space, and her behind-the-scenes ally. In 16 syllables. 16. That is a level of bar architecture you only see from rappers who have been quietly sharpening a knife for 9 months. Latto did not write this in a session. Latto wrote this on the back of every news article she read about herself in September. She wrote this while watching Cardi's apology tweet trend. She wrote this while pretending she didn't care. And then she dropped it on her retirement album, because, and here is the move that should scare every female rapper alive. Latto knew that if Cardi tried to respond, Cardi would be picking a fight with a woman who already left the building. Latto is retired. Latto has nothing to gain. Latto cannot be challenged to a beef, because she's already announced she's not making music anymore. So any Cardi response now is Cardi yelling at an empty stage. And I want to nerd out on the technical writing for a second, because the rhyme scheme inside those 4 bars is doing work too. Listen, clock it rhymes with closet rhymes with bought it. Triple stack of internal rhyme. That is not accidental. That is a rapper who sat with a pen for hours, who chose those 3 landing words specifically because each one carries an attack on the same target. Clock it, exposing the gesture. Closet, flexing her own wealth. Bought it, eliminating Cardi's economic leverage. Each rhyme is a different angle of the same kill shot. Then the second couplet shifts to a harder sound. Racks, facts, that, max. For harder landings in a row, like a drumline. The phonetic acceleration mirrors the escalation of the message itself. The bars get louder as the disrespect gets deeper. By the time you hit max, the listener's brain is already preloaded for impact, because the rhyme scheme has been pressurizing the chamber for 4 lines. That is craftsmanship most rappers couldn't replicate with 6 months and a co-writer. Latto did it in 1 verse on a song that isn't even the album's lead single. Sit with that. You see that? You see the trap? Big Mama is not just a retirement album. Big Mama is a fortress. Big Mama is a position from which Latto can throw rocks for the rest of time and pretend she's not throwing them. Because how do you go to war with a woman who's officially done? You can't. You'd look insane. You'd look obsessed. You'd look small. Let me say something else that nobody's putting together. The album is called Big Mama. The line in the bar references Big Mama, talking about buying Big Mama a bag. That means Latto baked the response into the title of the project. She didn't just put it in a song. She put it in the album cover, in the streaming thumbnails, in the headlines, in the merch, in the tour name. Every single time anybody, anywhere, says Big Mama, they are saying the punchline. For the rest of Latto's musical legacy, Big Mama is the answer to the question, remember when Cardi tried to buy her a bag? That is a level of long-game branding that the industry hasn't seen since Roman's Revenge. Maybe not even then. Because Roman's Revenge was a song. Big Mama is an era. And listen, I have to step back for a second and just appreciate the chess. Because we have been told for years, that Latto is the safe one. The corporate one. The radio one. The lottery rebrand one. Cardi was the wild one. Cardi was the unhinged one. Cardi was the one who'd take her shoe off in a club. And in this exchange, the script has been completely flipped. Cardi is the one who went on a phone rant. Cardi is the one whose audio leaked. Cardi is the one who had to apologize. Cardi is the one who's currently sitting in silence, watching her name trend in lyrics she can't respond to. And Latto, the supposed safe one, has executed one of the most surgical, patient, multi-layered, brand-baked diss campaigns in modern rap history, without raising her voice once. There's another wrinkle I haven't seen anybody discuss, and it's about Cardi's track record with apologies. Stay with me. Cardi has apologized publicly multiple times throughout her career. To Asian communities. To black women over colorism. To fans during the Offset chapters. Every one of those apologies, the public accepted. Why? Because Cardi has, until now, been able to follow each apology with a long stretch of behavior that supported it. She'd apologize, then disappear from the conversation, then re-emerge months later having done the work. That's the Cardi pattern. That has been the Cardi pattern for the entirety of her career. But this time, Latto didn't let the pattern complete. Latto interrupted the recovery arc. She didn't let Cardi disappear in return. She forced Cardi to stay on the apology stage by carving the apology into an album title. So now, every time Cardi tries to move forward, every interview, every red carpet, every album rollout for her own next project, somebody, somewhere, is going to mention Big Mama. And the apology never gets to expire. The pattern is broken. The Cardi cycle of redemption, apologize, vanish, return stronger, has been jammed mid-rotation. And that, more than any single bar, is what makes this the most damaging hit she has taken in years. Now let's get into what fans are saying, because the reaction online has been biblical. I want to read you a couple of these, because they capture the temperature better than any of my analysis. One person on X wrote, and I quote, "Latto really dared Cardi B ass to get in the booth in retaliation and told her ghostwriter to send his reader." Another one wrote, "OMG Latto dissed Cardi B on her album BC of that leaked call with Ice Spice. Let me give Big Mama a few streams tonight." Y'all see that? The streams comment. Because that is the most damning side effect of this whole thing. Latto's song is now getting played on Spite alone. Spite streams. Receipt streams. People are looping Gimme Dat just to send the bar to a group chat. The song doesn't even need to be good. And trust me, it is good, but it doesn't need to be, because the cultural moment is doing all the heavy lifting. And while we're talking numbers, let's not pretend Cardi isn't watching the analytics. Because the second the streaming numbers on Gimme Dat started spiking, every single label rep, every single A&R, every single ghostwriter on Cardi's payroll started getting that 2 a.m. phone call. What do? Do we respond? Should she go on PlaqueBoyMax? Should she ignore it? Should she leak something? And I promise you the answer in every single one of those meetings is the same. Do nothing. Because anything Cardi does makes it worse. That's the genius. Latto turned the apology into a noose. The bag offer wasn't generosity. In retrospect, it was Cardi handing Latto the rope. Cardi just didn't realize Latto was going to tie a knot, throw it over a beam, and stream the result on her own album cover. And I want to widen the lens for a minute, because this isn't happening in a vacuum. Cardi has an album rollout currently in motion. Singles charting. A tour being booked. Brand partnerships being negotiated. And every single one of those moving parts just got a hairline fracture from the Big Mama verse. Picture the marketing team trying to clear a Spotify editorial feature for Cardi's next single. The editor, human, on Twitter, who saw the lyric breakdown, has Big Mama fresh in their head. Does it consciously kill the placement? Probably not. Does it subconsciously kill the energy of the meeting? Absolutely. Picture the luxury brand trying to sign Cardi next quarter. The boardroom asks, what's the sentiment around her? Answer, she's in a feud where the other rapper is winning, decisively, on streaming. That answer alone delays the deal a month. Maybe kills it. These are the ripple effects nobody is putting in a YouTube thumbnail, but they matter. They matter financially. They matter long-term. A single 16-bar verse can shift $100 million of contractual oxygen across an entire career, and we are watching it happen in real time. Now I know what some of y'all are thinking. Cardi could come back. Cardi's the bigger rapper. Cardi has the hits. Cardi has the Grammys. Stop. Just stop. We are not in the era where commercial success wins disses. We are in the era where audio receipts win disses. And right now, Latto has the audio. She has Cardi's own apology, in Cardi's own typed words, archived on X, screenshotted by 10 million people, ready to be replayed anytime Cardi tries to threaten anything. The second Cardi posts a subliminal, every reply guy on the planet is going to drop that apology tweet in the quotes. And the conversation will end before it begins. This is what people don't understand about modern rap beef. The internet remembers. The internet archived your apology in 2025, and is gonna throw it back at you in 2026, 2027, 2028, forever. There is no statute of limitations on a screenshot. No expiration date on a leaked phone call. And Cardi B, a woman who built her career on viral moments, knows this better than anybody. Which is exactly why she's silent right now, watching her phone, knowing anything she types becomes ammunition. Let's talk about the production. The beat is built to amplify the verse. Listen to the drop right before B. H said what? There is a half second of silence before the snare kicks back in, and Latto's vocal sits in that silence like a knife on a table. You don't accidentally engineer a pause around a throwaway lyric. You engineer that pause when the lyric is the song. Somebody in that room heard the demo and said, move everything out of the way. This bar is the moment. And they sculpted 30 seconds of music around it, so the mix funnels toward that line like a spotlight tightening. That is intentional. That is somebody saying, we are not burying this. We are framing this. Let me give you one more layer, because I'm not letting y'all leave this video without the full picture. The timing of this album drop is also not an accident. May 29th, 2026. Right before summer. Right when Song of the Summer conversations start. Right when streaming numbers carry the most weight for the next 4 to 5 months. Latto did not pick that date randomly. She picked it because she knew that any drama around Gimme Dat would extend the album's shelf life from May into August at minimum. She turned a diss into a marketing engine. She turned spite into a streaming strategy. She turned Cardi's leaked phone call into the foundation of her entire summer campaign. And Cardi has to sit there and watch every dollar of that revenue get generated off her own embarrassment. Every single stream is salt in the wound. Let me name something else nobody is saying. The female rap landscape in 2026 is the most competitive it has ever been. Megan stacking awards. Glorilla running the South. Sexy Red owning the meme economy. Ice Spice rebuilding. Doeki kicking the door down. Newer faces, Flo Milli, Tink, Cal 3, Lola Brooke, all posted up. The bench is so deep that one misstep can knock you off the main stage for a calendar year. And Cardi, despite her commercial dominance, has been quietly losing cultural altitude for a minute. Her last album rollout had cracks. Her singles cycle has been inconsistent. Her tour got rescheduled. The Big Mama moment lands on a Cardi who is, by her own historical standards, the most vulnerable she has been in 7 years. Latto knew this. Latto's team knew this. They didn't drop this bar in 2021 when Cardi was on top of the world. They dropped it in 2026 when the algorithm and the audience were already primed to look for cracks. Timing isn't just timing. Timing is reconnaissance. Latto's team scouted the terrain and chose the exact moment when a single verse could do the work of an album. Now the question I keep getting in my DMs is, does Cardi have a play? Is there any move? Any single thing she can do? And I've thought about this for hours. Truly, I've gone through every possible scenario. Let me walk you through them. Option 1. Cardi responds with a song. Bad idea. She looks like a liar after her own apology. The internet quotes her own tweet back at her. She loses. Option 2. Cardi goes on Instagram Live. Bad idea. Anything she says becomes a clip. The clip becomes a meme. The meme outlives the response. She loses. Option 3. Cardi calls Latto privately and tries to make peace again. Bad idea. Latto's not going to take that call because Latto already gave her a public answer on the album. And even if Latto did take the call, what's the leverage? A second bag? A bigger bag? The bag currency is dead. Latto killed it on the song. She loses. Option 4. Cardi goes on PlaqueBoyMax and tries to freestyle. Worst idea. Because that's the trap. That's literally the booth Latto called her to. And if Cardi shows up and the bars aren't immaculate, and freestyling is famously not Cardi's strongest medium, she gets clowned for the next 18 months. She loses, but louder. Option 5. Cardi does nothing. Stays silent. Lets the news cycle pass. This is the smart play. But the cost? Her brand. Because Cardi B going silent in a feud is a violation of the entire identity she spent a decade building. Every fan who fell in love with her because of how loud she was now has to watch her be quiet. And quiet, for Cardi, reads as weakness. She loses, but slowly. You see what I mean? There is no winning move on this board. Latto designed a chess problem where every available square is a loss. And she did it with 16 bars. That is not a rap response. That is a doctoral thesis in revenge. There's also a backstory most casual fans don't know, and I think it explains why Latto sat on this for 9 months instead of responding right away. Latto and Cardi had history before the leak. Real history. They were on Put It On to Floor Again together. That record did real damage on the charts. It hit number 13 on the Hot 100. They did press together. They smiled in the same green rooms. There was no public friction between them, ever. Then the ErrTime remix happened, again with Cardi inviting Latto onto the song. Latto again said yes. Latto again showed up. And then days after that collaboration drops, the audio leaks where Cardi is heard speaking about Latto in the most disrespectful way possible. Put yourself in Latto's shoes for 2 seconds. You just helped this woman with 2 singles. You just stood next to her on a chart placement she needed. And while you're doing the favor, behind the scenes, she's saying she wants to beat you up. That is not a clean disrespect. That is a betrayal. That stings differently. That festers differently. And that, I would argue, is the emotional fuel that turned Big Mama from an album into a mausoleum. The bag offer was never going to fix this, because the wound wasn't financial. It was relational. Cardi tried to pay her way out of a betrayal, and Latto, in the most dignified way possible, said, "My closet is full. The currency you're offering doesn't apply here." And I want to talk for a second about what this means for women in rap as a whole, because I think there's a bigger story being missed. For years, the narrative in female rap has been about the next war. Who's beefing with who? Who's going to respond to who? The industry feeds on it. The blogs feed on it. The fans feed on it. And what Latto just did is something different. She didn't engage in a war. She engaged in a strategy. She waited 9 months. She didn't subtweet. She album tweeted. She didn't go on a podcast. She let the song be the podcast. She just rewrote the playbook for how a female rapper handles being disrespected by a peer. The old playbook: respond immediately, escalate publicly, get into a back and forth that splits your fanbase and dominates your timeline for 3 weeks. The new playbook: shut up, take notes, drop a bar 9 months later that turns the original disrespect into the punchline of your next era. I'm telling you, Sexy Red is watching. Glorilla is watching. Doekiai is watching. Megan is watching. Every woman with a microphone is screenshotting this strategy. Because Latto just proved you don't have to scream to win. You just have to be patient enough that when you finally drop the bar, the original incident reignites in your favor. Now, before I wrap, I want to address the one defense I keep seeing from Cardi fans in the comments. The Latto could be talking about anybody. You're reaching defense. And I want to say this with my whole chest. You are not reaching when the bar contains the album title, Big Mama, the gesture, the bag, the medium, the booth, and the witness, PlaqueBoyMax, Cardi's known ally. You are not reaching when 4 separate specific data points all line up with one specific public incident. That is not coincidence. That is correlation collapsing into causation in real time. The only way the bar isn't about Cardi is if Latto, on her retirement album, just happened to randomly stack 4 references that all map perfectly onto the most famous female rap apology of the last calendar year. The math doesn't math. Stop trying to make it math. And before some of y'all run to the comments with the tired, but Latto has writers to defense, let me address that head on. Even if she did, even if every single bar on Big Mama was workshopped in a room of 10 people, the strategic choices on this album are too cohesive, too specific, too personally tailored to the Cardi situation to be anything other than artist-driven. A ghostwriter doesn't pick your album title. A ghostwriter doesn't decide your release date. A ghostwriter doesn't name-drop a streamer based on whose ally that streamer happens to be. The macro architecture, the title, the timing, the targeting, that is the artist's hand. Period. So even if you want to argue about the lyrics line by line, you cannot argue about the chessboard. The chessboard belongs to Latto. The chessboard was built by Latto. And right now, Cardi is the only piece left on it, with nowhere safe to move. Y'all, this is one of those moments. Like genuinely. The kind of moment that ends up in a Netflix documentary in 7 years. The kind of moment that gets a 30-4-30 treatment. The kind of moment that goes in the rap textbook under case study. How to weaponize a retirement. Because the second Latto announced this album was her last, she handed herself a shield no other artist on the planet currently has. She can throw any punch she wants, from now until forever, and the response will always be, she's retired, she's done, leave her alone. She built an unwinnable trap and stepped into the only safe square on the board before she fired the shot. Mark my words. In 6 months, somebody is going to write a think piece called the Big Mama Doctrine, and it is going to be required reading for anybody in the entertainment industry who wants to understand how to weaponize an apology. Latto turned a private bag offer into a public branding strategy that will outlive both of their discographies. And she did it without raising her voice, without going on a single podcast, without subtweeting, without leaking anything herself, with one song, one title, 116. So here's where I leave y'all. I want to know in the comments. And be honest, do you think Cardi B is going to respond? Do you think she's going to stay silent? Do you think she's going to take the PlaqueBoyMax bait and try to freestyle in the booth Latto pointed at? Or do you think she's going to sit on her hands, watch the streams roll up, and pray that the next news cycle saves her? I want to see the split, because right now in my DMs it's about 60 to 40 saying Cardi stays quiet. I'm leaning the same way, but I've been wrong about Cardi before, and so have you. Also, and this is important, I'm going to be covering whatever Cardi does next, in real time, live, the second it drops. So if you want the breakdown the moment the audio leaks, the moment the tweet posts, the moment the IG live goes up, you know what to do. Smash that subscribe, hit the bell, and turn on notifications, because when this thing pops back off, and it will, I'm not going to be the second person to break it down. I'm going to be the first. Same as I was today. One more thing before I let y'all go, and this is the part one want you to really chew on after this video ends. The thing about a perfect diss in 2026, a truly perfect one, is that it doesn't end when the song ends. It doesn't end when the news cycle ends. It doesn't end when the apology video drops. A perfect diss embeds itself into the language. It becomes a phrase that fans use casually, in comment sections, on group chats, in TikTok captions, for years. And Big Mama is already doing that. Watch your feed in the next 2 weeks. Watch how many memes weaponize the title. Watch how many influencers caption their luxury hauls with Hermès store in my closet. Watch how many flag football clips of Cardi at the Super Bowl resurface with PlaqueBoyMax in the corner. The line is leaving the song. It's leaving the album. It's leaving Latto's discography entirely and becoming a piece of internet vocabulary. And once a diss enters the vocabulary, it cannot be apologized away. It cannot be bagged away. It cannot be responsonged away. It exists. It propagates. It outlasts the rappers themselves. And listen, if you've made it this far in the video, I appreciate you. Genuinely. Because this is the kind of breakdown that doesn't get done in a 30-second TikTok. This is the kind of breakdown that needs the full picture, the full receipts, the full strategic layout, and you stuck with me through all of it. So do me one favor. In the comments below, drop one word, just one, that you think summarizes Cardi B's current position. Just one. I want to see what the collective read is. Because I have my word, but I'm curious if it matches yours. And whatever you drop, I'll be reading. I read every single one. Especially the wild ones. Also, last thing, I promise, if you have not yet streamed Big Mama, do yourself a favor and at least play Gimme Dat once. Not because I'm a Latto stan, not because I'm picking sides, but because you owe it to yourself to hear the bar in context. The way the beat drops. The way her voice sits in the mix. The half-second of silence before the snare. You can't fully feel the cultural weight of this moment until you've heard it the way the studio engineered you to hear it. Then come back to this video and tell me if my analysis tracks. Because I will defend every single read I just gave you. Every single one. One last thought before I sign off. Take a step back. Look at this whole story. A woman gets disrespected on a phone call she wasn't even on. The phone call leaks. The other woman apologizes. The disrespected woman says nothing. Nothing. For 9 months. And then she drops one song, with one verse, with one bar, and flips the entire power dynamic of the rap game's biggest female rivalry in under 30 seconds of audio. That is not luck. That is not improvisation. That is not she just got mad and wrote a song. That is a woman who understood, on a strategic level deeper than anybody around her, that the loudest move you can make in 2026 is the silent one. That patience is currency. That timing is a weapon. That a retirement album is a fortress. And that the right 4 words, Big Mama, Bag, Booth, PlaqueBoyMax, placed in the right order, on the right beat, on the right release date, can do more damage than 50 Instagram lives, 100 subtweets, and 1,000 interview soundbites combined. So if you came here for tea, you got tea. But if you came here for the playbook, for the actual strategy, the actual long game, the actual reason this is going to be studied for years, I hope you took notes. Because Latto just dropped a masterclass, and Cardi B is the case study. And the wildest part? Class isn't even over. The album just dropped. The verse just landed. The silence from Cardi's camp is still hanging in the air, getting heavier by the hour. And whatever she does next, respond, ignore, apologize again, double down. Every single move she makes from this point forward is going to be measured against a bar Latto already wrote about her 9 months in advance, without her knowing it. That is the chessboard. That is the trap. That is Big Mama. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Tell me who you think wins this in the long run. The rapper who spoke first, or the rapper who waited longest. Tell me if you think PlaqueBoyMax says anything about it on his stream this week, because if he does, that's the next domino. Tell me if you've already streamed Gimme Dat 15 times today, because if you have, you're part of the strategy whether you like it or not. And tell me what you want me to cover next, because there is more, so much more, coming out of this album that the headlines haven't even touched yet. Hidden bars, buried references, producer credits that don't make sense unless you know who Cardi was working with last quarter. There's a second video in this album, maybe a third, and I'm going to get to all of it. But for today, this is where we stop. Latto rejected the apology. Latto rejected the bag. Latto rejected the gesture. Latto rejected the entire premise that Cardi B gets to disrespect her, apologize, and walk away clean. And she did it on the most permanent canvas an artist has. Her own album cover, her own song title, her own bar, her own voice. Forever. Streamable forever. Quotable forever. Screenshot-able forever. Cardi B can apologize again. She can buy 100 bags. She can call up every PR firm in Manhattan. None of it matters now. Because Big Mama already happened. The receipt is in the world. The verse is on the platform. And the silence from Cardi's side is, with every passing hour, becoming the loudest part of the entire story. Y'all stay locked in. Y'all stay petty. Y'all stay watching. And I'll talk to y'all in the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because trust me, when Cardi finally breaks, you're going to want to be in the front row when I break it down. Peace.